Hey y'all. So, I just want to talk about something real quick because it was on my mind while I was driving back to Keene. And so here we go. So, the 30th, which was Sunday, I hit 5 months sober, which is the longest I've ever not had a drink of alcohol in my life. Well, other than the first 19 years that I didn't drink alcohol, but you know what I mean. It's been challenging the past few days as I'm just like made this connection that as I'm counting up my sobriety, I'm also counting up the number of months since Pup Up and Johnny died. Because the last time I fucked up my sobriety was the end of April, which April was when Johnny and Pup Up died. So like every time I think to myself, I've been sober for 5 months, it's also like, but you've been without Pup Up and Johnny for 5 months too. And that's the whole reason why I drank that night in April. It's just grief took over and overwhelmed me so much that I didn't know what to do. And as usual, the first like 2-3 months are usually pretty fine without alcohol, and then I get into the third and fourth month, and I'm like, oh my god. The fifth month was kind of like, I mean, honestly, I just keep myself busy, so I don't think about it that much. You know, if I don't have any downtime, I don't have any, opportunity to act on my feelings. I just sit on top of them and don't let them exist. Which is probably not the best way to be handling it, because I don't think that's a sustainable way to stay sober, but it works for me right now to just not do it. But, whew, so my thought process, as I'm driving home, like, what am I gonna do tonight? La-di-da-di-da. Oh, maybe I should just get a drink. Because, like, honestly, the minute I have, like, free time, my brain just goes, go to the bar. That's the first thought in my head is go to the bar or get a drink. Whenever I have too much free time, such as a night to do nothing. And I have to, like, actively be doing something else. Otherwise, that's all I think about. So, then my next thought after that was, like, well, maybe, since you're counting up, the same amount of months since Johnny and Pup Up died as you are sobriety, maybe you should just, like, break sobriety and start over so that the count doesn't add up the same, so that you're not constantly counting up the same way. So it's like my brain was trying to give me an excuse for breaking my sobriety. Sounds like a pretty good excuse. But, yeah, so that was just, like, where my head was at this whole drive home, of just, like, making those connections, and then just, like, missing Pup Up, because obviously Tuesday. And Grammy and I were just kind of talking about him earlier, and, man, Monday, the 8th, 6 months since he passed. I can't even... 6 months ago from tomorrow was my last Tuesday with him. It was the last, 6 months from yesterday was Easter, was his last good day. He was really aware and he was awake, and I feel like the beginning of every month is always hard. I just go back to that week, those 8 days in my head, and I just relive. Especially the last 4 days of his life. It's just like, I can't help but think, like, the 4th, I go, okay, 6 months ago, we found out he was actively dying. And then, the 5th, 6 months ago, the whole family show. I just, like, play it all out in my head, how it happened again, and, like, that's just all I can think about sometimes. And it comes and goes. Like, last month it didn't bother me as much, but this month I feel like I'm thinking about it all the time. I just miss him. I can't. It feels like unreal that it's been that long, but also, it feels like it was just yesterday, but also it does feel like it was a long time ago, which doesn't make sense. But, like, man, time is weird, and grief is weird, and just life in general is weird. So, anyway, I just want to talk about that. I'm not gonna break my sobriety. I'm being active and I'm talking about it, so that I can be kept accountable. And I'm hanging out with someone tonight, so I doing something stupid. So I know myself, I can feel the trigger, and so I like make sure that I have someone to be around so I don't mess up. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll talk to you next time.